So the topics we're going to discuss today, okay, of course, it's about communication, but this is a very, let's say, broad, right, um, topic. So I decided to discuss communication in interviews, meetings, and video calls in general, but also um, if you have to talk with a stakeholder, for instance, or with a coworker, or with someone from your sales team, or of course, interviews, meeting, and video calls in general. Okay, so let's talk about this. About common barriers. So probably challenges that we have. Okay, challenge that we have during our communications. Challenge that might appear right? During interviews, during sessions, during this kind of events that we are having here, for instance. Non-verbal cues. Of course, I'm going to introduce myself, so you're going to see that I'm not exactly a native English speaker too. And let's finish with a portfolio and social media, because there are some communication tips here and there, okay? So if you don't know me, I can see some hello all. I can see many former, let's say, mentees. Okay, so hello all. Nice to see you again. Some new ones. So my name is Rafael. If you're gonna talk to me later, you can say Rafael. I don't care. It's fine. Okay, it's really common to have different pronunciations. I was born and raised in São Paulo, Brazil, and I think 3 or 4 years ago, before the pandemic, I moved to Bolivia with my now wife. Okay, Bolivia, La Paz, it's a very, let's say, not exotic, but it's different because we are almost 4,000 meters above the sea level. So we have some challenges here and there. About my academic background, I have two bachelors. The first one is in web development, and the second one is in linguistics. I know it's a bit different, but I think at the end of the at the end of the day, it made sense. Okay. My professional experience, basically, I was a teacher for everything, like Spanish, English, uh, English for people with disabilities, introduction to computer informatics, and all those things. But what really matters here is um, I have probably 7 years of experience of digital marketing of performance. We are talking about those marketing strategies that we help the companies to sell more. So I had the opportunity to work and to go to Google headquarters, Facebook headquarters, and etc. But what can I say? I got bored. Okay, I needed a new challenge, so I switched my career to UX. Of course, it's really easy to say, but it was a hard challenge, but it was the right decision. So my main focus right now is Design Lab. Okay, I'm a mentor there for 2 years, a bit more than 2 years. And I still have my agency with my wife. We have info products and methodologies and social media management and consultancies, web design, everything, just to keep things maybe dynamic and fresh. Okay, but at the end of this event, you can ask anything you want for me. Okay, but let's do this. Uh, Types of communication. Of course, the verbal one, like talking to someone, talking to a friend, talking to uh, a mentor, right? An interview, whatever. But also we have non-verbal. So we are talking about maybe gestures, okay, body posture, um, eye contact, hands, for instance, facial expressions, everything that is non-verbal. Even wearing glasses can be a non-verbal communication, okay? Written, of course, we're talking about sending emails, maybe answering an interview, answering a test for an interview, or communicating with a coworker, or communicating with a collaborator, a stakeholder. Listening, yes, listening is part of communication. So it's not only about talking and talking or about written writes and writes. It's also about listening, which is really, really really, really important. Okay, visual communication is really linked to nonverbal, so it's kind of the same. You're talking about the what you're addressing, okay? You're talking about maybe your background, what you have in your background while you're having a online session, while you are having an interview, everything that is visual, okay? So specifically for video calls and interviews, communication. Uh, the content here that I decided to show, it is focused, of course, in interviews and the communication you have with your coworkers in your company too. But I'm trying to give some tips also. It's not going to be only theory, okay? So that's why I'm going to ask you to participate here and there. So the verbal, my tips and my suggestions for you on video calls and interviews. Know the context, study the background, have empathy, pay attention to the cues. What I mean by know the context, of course, if you're looking for a position, a job, I know that is hard. I know that is a challenge, right? We are in a kind of a delicate position because we are looking for something. We are kind of fragile, okay, in this process. But try to have even 2 minutes to go to the company's website, maybe to check who is in charge of the company, CEOs, managers, HR professionals. Try to go there, try to understand the context. Okay. One of the worst things is when you're going to interview someone and the person, of course, they're sending many, many, many resumes, but they have no idea whom they're talking to. So this is really hard. Okay. So try to spend 2 minutes, get the company's name, maybe a CEO, manager, whatever, and understand a little bit. Okay. Empathy. Why is that? Of course, it's a human being, right? It's a human being. So try to have some empathy. If it's an interviewee, interviewer, interviewee, if it's a CEO, if it's a manager, if it's just a coworker, okay, be human there. Pay attention to the cues. What I mean by that? Uh, when you're doing an interview, you're looking for a position. Let's stay in this topic. Um, you can notice if the person is looking like this, you know, if it's maybe trying to look with his eyes, of course, but it's pointing their eyes to the bottom, checking their cell phone, or even you can hear that the person is typing, this kind of noise, or even if the person is looking for a new tab to check something. This is a sign, of course, that the person is distracted, is not paying attention to you. So try to get back, you know. Uh, I'm gonna give you some tips for that, but try to pay attention to the situation, okay, to the environment. Non-verbal and visual communication. That's what I mean. Eye contact and movements. For instance, you can see if the person is looking here, there, if it's bored, okay, it's not paying attention, if it's tired, if it's like doing this with their necks, they're tired, if they're getting, I don't know, their cell phones and doing this, if they are not answering while you are communicating their interview, pay attention to this. This is a sign if you're not, let's say, not in control, because we don't have control of the situation, but if you're in control in the sense of being there in the interview, okay? One more thing here for the non-verbal. Pay attention to your tone of voice. Okay. If you always go, for instance, if communication that is flat, okay, you don't have variations, you don't have dynamics in your communication, it's gonna be easy for the any person who's listening or people, right? Maybe it's a team, maybe it's more than one person, to get bored and get distracted. Okay, nowadays we have so many stimulation. We have tabs, phones, we have tablets, we have, I don't know, notifications everywhere. So try to be there and pay attention if the person is interested or not. Okay. This is kind of basic, but it's also important. We have different kinds of communication for social media. So social media is different usually, right? Because maybe you have a professional profile on social media, so maybe it's different. But if it's me, like Rafael, I'm gonna write in a different way on social media that I'm writing, for instance, an email for an application, right? So try to understand the context that you are, the company, maybe the tone of voice of the company. Okay, so maybe it's different to apply for a startup than to apply for maybe Microsoft. Okay, so pay attention of your tone of voice. If it's formal, informal, if it's more academic, if you need to use maybe technical words, if you want to use maybe actually, if you need to use maybe informal words, technical, non-technical, so pay attention to what you're doing, okay? What's the context of this email or this maybe resume or even cover letter, okay? Listening. Of course, when we talk about these types of communication, we talk, hey, what it has to do with communication to listen. It has everything to do because you need to be there. You need to pay attention as you want the person who's there to pay attention to you, right? To be there, to listen to every single word you're saying. So a conversation is not a battle. Listening attentively, whether in the workplace, in an interview, or even in life, of course, demonstrates that you are fully present in the moment. So that's it. If you are talking to someone, if it's an interview, if it's a coworker, try to be there. Again, I'm saying this again, but try to be there. Try to listen, but not try to listen to the conversation, waiting to reply to something. Okay? Try to listen in the sense of understanding more the context. Try to listening, trying to understand maybe what the person is saying for you to collaborate more, okay, and be a more um, effective participant in this conversation. So try to listen everything, okay? For now, I can see that many people have joined here, Alicia, Shannon, Rafael, Nikki, Christy, welcome, Erica, Claire. Hey, Claire. Um, any questions? Because I'm gonna stop like a minute here. You can turn on your cameras or I'm also reading, okay, the chat. So you can just type in the chat. Do you have any questions about everything we discussed or what I have said so far? We went through verbal, non-verbal, written, listening, communication, um, video sessions, anything that anyone here wanna ask or wanna know, or maybe if you wanna share an experience with us, okay? The time is yours. Nobody, nobody, nobody. I can see Jason there. Gary saying, hi there. Makes sense so far. Let's see. Is there anyone else with the camera turned on? Only Jason has the camera on. Interesting. Okay, no questions. 3, 2, 2.5, 1.5, 1. Okay, no questions. This is a very simple example. Okay. Of course, my background, for instance, is kind of okay. Of course, I have many posters and many frames there, things that I like, traveling, the places that I have traveled. Okay, so I keep there. But it's in a certain way, it's kind of organized. Okay, it's not a mess. So my suggestion, of course, also being a mentor on Design Lab and having I had probably more than 100 mentees already. So try to organize your background, okay? You don't need to be one of those professional pictures on LinkedIn, okay? Like a white background. But take a look. You know, sometimes we forget some bottles, sometimes we forget, I don't know, even toilet papers, you know, makeup, all those things. So take a look. Connect like 2 minutes before, or even turn your camera before the meeting. If you're using Mac, there's some kind of little apps that you can just click and enable, turn on your camera, right? So you can take a look. If it's too much, just turn on Google Meet. Okay, Google Meet is just one click. The camera is gonna be there. Take a look. Of course, take a look on you, right? So I don't, for instance, it doesn't look like, but I'm a very introverted person. Okay, so being here, for instance, for me, not right now, but I think a couple of years ago, it would be a big, big, huge challenge. I would be like froze here. But right now it's okay. It's something that let's say I had to practice. Okay, I had to overcome in order to be here. Even with my mentees, they have no idea that I'm a really introverted person. But it's something that you overcome after, let's say, losing some opportunities, right? Professionally. Something that you need to understand that it's not enough to be a guru, on Figma. It's not enough to master auto layout. It's not enough to master components and I don't know, accessibility, but you need to master your communication too. Okay. Me, for instance, here in our company, actually, we value this a lot because they're gonna represent, okay, our company. They're gonna send emails, they're gonna talk, they're gonna maybe interview or something. So if they don't have good communication, we are not gonna hire. Absolutely. Okay. So it's a balance. Of course, the person needs to know the technicalities, but if they are a good communicator, it's even better. Okay. So this is a classic example, right? Maybe it's your your house, my house, I don't know. But for instance, this person here, you can see that her desk is kind of, there's a lot of things, not even messy, it's just too many things. But this is not gonna be shown, right, in the video call. So it's okay, it's fine, don't worry. But maybe this guy here, it's gonna have a really messy background. So take care with that because it's a classic, it's an expression, but the first impression is what stays with us, right? The first time you see someone, even if it's I don't know, if it's in person, the person is like smelly, whatever, you're gonna remember this forever. Oh, I remember 10 years ago, the first time I saw you, you were smelly. What happened? Rain or subway, what happened? So pay attention to this kind of details too. You don't need to be social, you don't need to go to the barber shop, whatever. Just pay attention if there's anything wrong there. Okay. This is valid for physical, of course, in office interviews, for video calls, meetings with stakeholders. They're gonna always remember those things. Okay. Um, another tip here: how to communicate with someone that is not technical. This is one of the hardest challenges because again, I think part of the this presentation is also to share, right, stories. So my previous position in those advanced marketing of performance, I was what they call technical account manager or technical account program manager. They have different names for the same thing. Um, it is, yes, a technical work, but actually in those companies, you have less technical workers than other areas. So my biggest challenge for maybe 6, 7 years was actually to how can I communicate something that is really technical to a sales team, for instance? How can I communicate something that is really technical to my boss? Okay, he's the boss. Of course, he's earning more, he's profiting more, but not necessarily he's a technical person or she is a technical person. So how to communicate this? Okay, try to think on different ways to communicate the same thing that anyone can be able to comprehend, right? An example here. So if you're talking about UX, hey, we decided to use like 2 pixels for letter spacing and line height of the original font size following W3 standards and compressed PNG images to save server bandwidth. It's kind of complicated, right, to understand, even if you are there in UX or UI. So if you use this kind of communication to with a stakeholder, a manager, a CEO, or HR professional, big chances that they're not going to understand. Okay, so it doesn't matter if you understand, if you are technical or not, try to find a different way. And here is a suggestion. Let's compare. So we use a good spacing between letters and lines so that the text is more comfortable to read. So it can also reach a larger audience. We also worked to ensure that images are quick to load on any type of connection. So if I say this to even my mom, or to a friend during the dinner, they're gonna understand. They don't need to be UX, they don't need to be digital marketing professionals, whatever. So instead of this, try to use this, especially with stakeholders, especially with um, a coworker, especially maybe during an interview. And of course, especially if you're gonna explain what you do. If you are a UX professional and you try to understand, you try to explain to someone what you do, it's gonna be tough, right? Usually what I do is I tell examples like the ATM. The ATM example is like, hey, remember last time you tried to withdraw some money? Uh, what did you get first, the money or the card? So I try to explain that if they give you the card first, it's less problematic if you take the card first, because if you lose the card, you're gonna you're gonna have to call the bank, you're gonna have to call the manager, you're gonna have to wait until you get a new card, you're gonna have to block the card, right? So I give this kind of example. So that's why they give you the card first, because you are always in a hurry to get the money. So usually you get the money and forget the card, right? So they changed this. Uh, oh, Rafael Barbosa, please give us a tip. How can we practice being a better communicator? Excellent question. It sounds like you're from Brazil, if I'm not mistaken, but maybe I might be mistaken. Um, Actually, first, I recommend one book is Show Your Work. You probably know this guy, Austin Kleon. Austin Kleon is the same author of the Still Like an Artist. Okay, Still Like an Artist book. So he has Still Like an Artist, Keep Going, and Show Your Work. So it's one of my recommendations. Another recommendation is remember how much time we spent trying to learn Figma, trying to learn auto layout, trying to learn accessibility, trying to learn how, I don't know, a design for a responsive medium. So my recommendation is try to study communication too. In my case, it was more practicing than studying. Okay. So for instance, uh, before UX, of course, I was a English teacher, Spanish teacher, computer informatics for children. Um, I went to teach people with I forgot the terminology in English, but it's like low income, okay, people. So I practiced. And after that, of course, when I went to the professional environment, let's say with big companies, I had to do presentations. So in my case, it was a mix of practicing with an audience, of course. So practicing showing presentations, showing projects, explaining goals for clients. Those companies that I was saying, they were international. So they were from Brazil, and they have the offices or cells we call in France, in Portugal, in Sweden. So it was just like a matter of practicing a lot, but also reading a lot about communication. This will be my recommendation. Also, an extra recommendation, don't forget to check AI. Okay, ask your recommendations for AI. Maybe so many platforms are appearing, right? They are being created. So try to check if you have like any platform that you can practice communication and presentation. If you have a friend you can practice, try to start with a very simple idea, like an idea that you have for an application, an idea that you have for a website, or maybe a song that you are writing. Try to explain this, okay? Remember that not everybody knows what we are doing, so you need to explain very simple ways. So my idea is, of course, read, watch videos, of course. Simon Sinek is an excellent one. Seth Godin, you can go there. Austin Kleon, his books, of course. Read and watch these guys, and also practice. It's never enough, okay, practicing. I can totally tell you, oh, it's Rafael, my shara. I can totally tell you that I lost many opportunities in the corporate business because I wasn't being a good communicator. I was just going to my job, listening to music and couldn't wait to get home again. Okay. But with not doing a good communication, like selling myself a little bit, I'm pretty sure that many people got better opportunities, even though they were not so as good as me in the day. Okay. So communication in many ways, right? So again, instead of, hey, we decided to use, I don't know, 2 pixel letter spacing and 1.5 times the line height, blah, blah, blah. I'm tired just by reading. Try something like this, different words for the same thing that you can reach a larger audience, okay? Hey, we use a good spacing between letters and lines so that the text is more comfortable to read. So we can also reach a larger audience. We also work to ensure that images are quick to load on any type of connection. Anyone can understand this, right? Um, okay, before we go to the common barriers, any questions? Anyone wants to share maybe a story, maybe ask something, maybe give a suggestion, maybe, I don't know, just participate. Let's see who's here. Alicia, Claire, Nikki, Aileen, Paulina, Leanne, Justin, Tori, Carrie, Jason. Feel free. Send a hello, type something, or turn on your microphones. Feel free to participate. Mhm. No one, no one, no one, no one. Okay. If no one wants to share a story or ask anything, I'm gonna move forward. Um, Common barriers. So okay, we are discussing how to communicate, but oh Jason, at some point I would love to hear about the fact if could reach out on LinkedIn. Okay. So common barriers. We're talking about communication, but we also need to talk about the things that might happen, okay, during interviews or emails or video calls, whatever, and how to deal with, right? This is the challenge. Claire, I'm Claire. I just started UX Academy, very eager to learn more about design and communication. Okay, Claire, welcome. Um, Yes, it's a intensive but a beautiful journey, the UX Academy. I think I'm pretty sure you're gonna enjoy. Um, First, lack of transparency. What I mean by that? Um, in the context of an interview, try to be honest, okay? Try to be honest with your skills, try to be honest with your background, try to be honest with your experience, try to understand and show your background too. What I mean, be honest, of course, not too much. You don't want to talk about, I don't know, how full the subway was, right? Maybe, but not that much. That's what I mean. Don't go that deeper, into this transparency. Just be honest. Hey, I'm looking for a position. I'm looking for a new challenge. I don't have experience. I'm not gonna lie, okay? But I'm really looking forward to work in a company. Um, what else? Don't lie. Okay, it happened a lot that I got a resume, and of course it was a lie. We could notice. It's really easy to research this. Okay, you can change some words, you can put some cosmetics in your experience. Okay, so if you work it as a web designer, let's say, but you want to focus on UX, of course you can change some words. Hey, focus on accessibility, uh, responsive design, of course, but don't lie. Don't say that you know how to code PHP if you have no idea what PHP is, right? Don't tell that you live, I don't know, in New York because the job and the opportunity is there, but you live, I don't know, in Manhattan. Don't do that. Okay. Oh, there's some comments here. Let me stop for a minute. For me, I am also not a native English speaker, and sometimes find myself looking for the word. Okay. I even say out loud, sorry, I forgot my English today. Do you have any tips or advice on what to do in these situations? Yes, I'm not a native English speaker too, but a very important thing that I learned in my linguistics university was to try to find any word as a practicing. Okay, try to find any word that is kind of hard for you. For instance, we are talking about UX, we are talking about interviews, so it's kind of okay. You're gonna kind of know the words, but if you ask something specific, like I have a Gatorade here, right? So if you ask what's the name of this, you're probably not gonna know. I know in Portuguese, I know in Spanish, but in English, I'm just gonna say, hey, I'm gonna close, right? So a good practicing is try to find ways to explain things, right? So I need to close my Gatorade in order to not, I don't know, lose flavor or whatever. So try to find ways to explain the meaning of this word. A ridiculous but free and effective way for you to practice this, Claudia, dictionary. Okay, get an English dictionary. I had a I think I still have, maybe. Uh, Try to get an English dictionary and read the dictionary. Like, hey, I don't know, cell phone, right? Mobile phone. What's the definition of a mobile phone? We know it's a mobile phone, but hey, a device to communicate with other people in an easy way, immediate way, probably. So try to find a way to communicate the same word, because if you get stuck in a word, it's even worse, right? Because the communication is gonna stop, the answer is gonna stop. If you're questioning something, it's gonna stop. Okay, so try to find other ways to explain the same word. That's what I did. And of course, practicing. If you don't know something, say that you don't know, go do your research and go back later. Okay. uh, I think one of the most important characteristics of someone is that the person is humble. Okay, so even me, when I'm a mentor, of course there are times that someone asks about, I don't know, a super advanced auto layout feature, and I say, hey, I never saw this problem before. I'm gonna search and I'm gonna get back to you as soon as possible. And that's it. Okay. I hope it had helped. Tori, can you talk to us about direct and succinct communication with stakeholders and how to prepare content for those conversations to ensure you get all the necessary information, answers to questions? Excellent question, and it seems that is the same as Jason here. Um, we go back here. Hold on. Like here. Okay. Know the context, study the background, have empathy, and pay attention to the cues. What I mean by that? If we're talking to a stakeholder, usually, of course, not 100%, but they are there to get money. Okay, they want their money to have results, right? They're not there to have a cup of tea and talk about the subway and about the weather. They want to see if their money is getting is or at least gonna get good results. Okay, so if you have an idea to show to a stakeholder, again, first, it does it's not necessary for you to use fancy words, right? They want to know the goals. They want to know, hey, I have, let's say, let me find an example. Here in Bolivia, for instance, it wasn't that common to have those Uber Eats. Now it's common, okay? But if you show an idea like this, like an Uber Eats for someone here who has money, you don't need to show, you don't need to tell about pixels, you don't need to tell about accessibility. You need to tell them, hey, I have an idea that you can invest like, let's say, $1 and get maybe $30 in return in a year. Okay. The idea is to provide food for everyone using only one phone. That's how you communicate an idea. How deliver food to anyone if the person only has a phone? Okay, anywhere, anytime, with gazillions of categories, gazillions of types of food, and whatever. So they're gonna ask, hey, but how am I gonna get money? Right? Okay, the idea is good. So you're gonna charge a little fee from the restaurants, and you're gonna charge a little fee from the buyers, the users, and you're gonna charge a little fee for the deliver boys, deliverers, I think is the word. Anyway, deliver professionals. Okay, so you need to find this kind of explanation for everything you do. If it's your boss, if it's a stakeholder, try to think about the goals, try to think about how to explain your idea in a simple way, try to explain your idea, how this idea is different from other ideas, what you can bring to this idea, right? So it's your job to do a research, okay? You know the SWOT analysis, so you go to the competitors, check their weaknesses, check what they don't have, and check what you can offer. Okay, the SWOT analysis. So try to explain again in a very simple way with goals and how can this person have a return in their investment. Okay, and usually you need to be fast. They don't have patience. Okay, they're gonna get their phones, they're gonna answer emails, and the work you had for maybe months. Okay, sometimes we spend months in an idea, they're gonna be distracted answering something. That's why you need to have a good communication. uh, I'm gonna tell about this tone of voice, dynamics. Okay, you that you are listening to me right now, I'm not keeping the same tone of voice, right? I'm not keeping my voice flat. I'm going to ups and downs. I'm keeping serious. I'm keeping um, some animation, let's say, here. Okay, so you need to do the same. Okay, you are in the position that you need to prove something to someone, right? He has the money, you have an idea, you need him, also he needs you too. But in this moment, you need him. right? And you need to show that you're gonna be valuable for him. Okay. Claudia, thank you so very much. That was very helpful. Okay. Barriers, of course. Now, disinterest, indifference. That's what I was saying. If you notice that the person is like getting their phone, you know, looking here, looking there, or even that you can listen right to the keyboard, you can listen the computer because they're opening another tab, right? Reading the news, reading social media, reading what the neighbor had for lunch yesterday, whatever. They just got bored and lack of interest. So pay attention to this. If something like this is happening, what I usually do, I ask a question. Okay, I usually ask, hey, what do you think? So if you have like 5 seconds of silence, something's wrong. The person already left the conversation, right? You don't need to be uh, rude or arrogant. No, that's not the point. But if while you are explaining, like me, I'm explaining something to you guys, and if I notice there's something like people are not interested, they're not chatting, right? They are not turning the cameras on. I'm gonna ask you to participate, and that's how you do in a classroom. Okay, when I go teach in the university, it's like 7 a.m. I was a student too, 7 a.m. I have no attention. I don't even started my brain, it's like an ignition. Zzz, zzz. So after 2 minutes talking in the university, I need to ask something, you know. Hey, what about you? Tell me about a bad experience with an application. Tell me a bad experience with a website. Hey, what about you? Tell me how can a blind person can order coffee in a coffee shop? Okay, and then get their attention again. You can do the same with a stakeholder and with your boss. Don't be afraid. Okay. Um, of course, cultural differences, language, and styles. Yes. Uh, some topics are kind of sensitive, right? So be aware that different cultures they have different, well, cultures, right? So pay attention to your words, examples, things about religion, race, politics, even food, or these kind of things, even clothing. Okay. Pay attention to not say something that might offend, right? Someone. This happens even if you don't know, because we take for granted that our culture is like a standard, but it's not. Okay, I'm from São Paulo. I live in La Paz. I traveled, I don't know, France, Argentina, and whatever, and everything is different, right? So try to really understand the context. Usually there is no right or wrong, there's just respect. Okay. And me, of course, being a mentor on Design Lab with probably more than 100 mentees, I have seen a lot, right? From people in Ukraine, from the war, from India, Japan, China, Brazil. And my job is to mentor them. Okay, so I need to understand their culture in order to communicate well. If I give examples from São Paulo, it's not going to work, right? But if I give an examples like, hey, how can a blind person can order a coffee in a restaurant? This is global, right? So this is the kind of example that you can give or tell anybody. Not listening to others. Of course, sometimes we are just having a conversation. The minute the person starts talking, you start thinking about something else, right? Oh crap, I forgot to go to the supermarket. Oh crap, I forgot to buy milk. Oh crap, I forgot to pay this. I forgot to pay that. Oh, my dog. Oh crap, I need to go tomorrow to the doctor. And the person is talking, right? So be aware that you want people to pay attention to you, So pay attention to people, right? It's, of course, we are talking about interviews and video calls, but actually it's about life, right? Listen, I know it's hard. We have the we have these devices here, so we are kind of scrolling, right? Every single moment. We are distracted. Our span of attention is like this nowadays. I remember 4 years ago, the time for the user to decide if they're gonna buy something due to the hero section was 5 seconds, but it's probably 2 or 3 seconds now, right? So a work of months and maybe years can how do you say, can slip, right? Through your fingers like in 2 seconds, right? So the same even interview, you studied, you did the boot camp or not, you were studying or anxious about an interview. So the minimum you can do is for those 5 or 15 minutes, I don't know, pay attention, right? Forget everything. It's an exercise you need to do. Forget everything and be there. Pay attention to the words, pay attention to the environment, pay attention to the background, pay attention to the body language. True. You can see me right now. I'm not like this, right? My shoulders are not like this. This is disinterest. Okay. If you're not interested in something, you do this. If you are interested, of course, as long as you can, right? I'm not an athlete, right? So after a while, yes, but try to pay attention to this, right? Um, Number 5, flat stereo and no dynamic conversation. What I said, if you're listening to me right now, I'm not keeping the same tone of voice, right? Every single word I'm changing. If it's something fun, I'm gonna have this tone of voice. If it's something more serious, I'm gonna low my tone of voice to talk about this. So the same. Okay, if you're doing an interview and they ask about your personal life, try to change your tone. If you're talking about something that is fun, change your tone. Okay, keep variations, just like music. Okay. Um, eye contact. Of course, this is really hard to do here because you guys are on my right side. The camera is here and my presentation is here. So I'm trying my best. But if you are one-on-one, okay, in person or in a video call, try to be here. Okay. If it's a presentation, what you can do, use the tab close to the camera, right? The camera is usually at the center. So use the tab that you have your presentation like close. So right now I'm looking to my other tab, like uh, Google Translator, just in case I forget some word, I have it here. So, but it doesn't look that I'm distracted because I'm here, right? So if it's in person, the same, eye contact, not in a weird way, right? Just be calm, look to the person, and that's it. Uh, Facial and body expression. I kind of already told, forgot that I had here, but the same. Okay, avoid really weird facial expressions. Just try to show that you are interested. Okay, some light smiling. Okay, eyebrows. You can always do these. Interesting. You know, basic things. Even in a bar, in a restaurant, you can do this. You don't need to overreact to everything. Oh my God, blah, blah. It's not the point. Okay. Just be there. Um, I put there like focus, you can do it because it's hard for us to focus nowadays with so many things, right? So forget your phone, put on the silent mode, right? Close everything else that you have in your Google Chrome. Try to avoid distractions. Okay, if it's an interview, if it's a presentation for a stakeholder, uh, those 10 minutes are going to be the most important. Okay, so be there. Appearance. Well, this is kind of subjective, but of course, try to understand that the context of the company. Okay, if it's a startup, it's something really informal. If it's something really formal, like a lawyer's office, whatever, and try to understand the context and be prepared for this. Okay. Me, for instance, you can see that of course, long hair and beard and this kind of thing. I'm probably a rock and roll guy, let's say, heavy metal guy. But of course, I'm not gonna be here with some black metal t-shirt with skulls and pentagrams and blood, splitting blood from my t-shirt, right? This is a communication lecture or workshop, whatever, right? So I'm gonna be here kind of, okay, not, it's not saying anything. It's clean. There's no, I don't know, coffee spilled here or food, whatever. My background is okay. There's nothing weird in the background. I'm trying to avoid noise, right? So the doors are closed and the windows are closed. Pay attention to these details, okay? Of course, sometimes some things are unavoidable, right? You cannot control, like environment sometimes. You cannot control if someone's gonna call you, right? It happens, but you say, hey, I'm sorry, just a second. But pay attention to this. Um, and to finish, before I open to questions and comments, we still have some minutes. Social media, please pay attention to this. Okay, so right now, if you're looking for a job, if you're looking for freelance works, if you're looking for clients, partners, go to your social media. If it's Instagram, if it's Facebook, I don't know, go back there and really review everything. Of course, social media, it's something that you can express your opinion. We have our opinions, but there's a time and place for that, right? Try to see if you don't have anything that is like offensive to anyone, right? Cultures, races, uh, religions, I don't know. And don't do this maybe for a while, right? The company is not interested on that. And even though you might say, hey, but it's my opinion. Of course, I have opinions too, right? But right now you want to find a job, you want to maybe cause a good impression, right? So if you had something that is really weird in a social media, that is the first thing the HR, the human resources professional, is going to take a look, right? Why is that? Because it can be a problem for the company, right? You're going to work for a company. The company is going to pay you to represent them. So if you're representing them and you have an opinion that is not representing the company, why would they hire you, right? Jason, hold on. I think I need to turn on the microphone, or can you unmute from there?
Yeah, yeah, I can. Can
Oh,
you hear me?
okay, I can hear you. Hi
This
there.
is just it's a quick question while you're on this social media moment.
Uh-huh.
I uh I got rid of it all like 5 years ago for myself. And so since getting into career services, I've gotten back, I had to recreate a LinkedIn from scratch. And I got rid of it 5 years ago because I did quite well at it. And so I know how it can look if I only have 150 connections.
Mm-hmm.
I also am worried that because they could be Googling my name and not see me on Instagram or Facebook or something, that that could be a problem area for some hiring people. Do you imagine that being a red flag for anybody in a hiring position?
Mm, not really. The red flag if is if you have something that not don't represent the company,
Hmm,
right? Let's say, I don't know, just something offensive in general. Okay. A company they don't want to have someone representing them paying your the company is paying for someone, and this someone is representing the company, and this someone has a different opinion from the company, right? So that's what they do not want.
I see.
Okay. So if you want to talk about, I don't know, sports, right? Food, music, it's fine. But unfortunately, nowadays, politics, like religion, race, it's a really sensitive topic with with all the, and I back up this, right? I don't want to deal with anyone that is like offensive, that brings like hate, to my circle. So if I go to their social media, of course we can disagree in politics, we can disagree in religion. It's fine in music. But if you see that this person is offensive towards someone just because they don't agree, this is a red flag.
Mm.
This is, I don't know if there's any stronger name, than red flag, but this is red flag. Because you can imagine like meetings, you can imagine happy hours in the company. You can imagine 8 hours in an office with this person. Something's gonna happen, right? It's even worse if you're working at an agency or something that you need clients. Those clients, and believe me, those clients, they're gonna check the social media of everyone in the company,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if they see something that is like, remember, I know George, take a look at this post from George, and he's like bad words, bad mouthing, blah blah blah. It's a red flag, right? About social media, you can check my Instagram. You can check like uh hold on, chatting to how do I do this? It's a weird chat. But check my Instagram is like it's like here. Hold on. Okay, check my Instagram. It's really strategic, my Instagram. So I'm showing that I'm studying. I'm showing my next events. I'm showing that I'm mentoring students, but I'm also showing that I like music. I like to travel, and I don't know, I like my dog, right? So as far as I know, no red flags, right? Unless the person doesn't like dogs, and then I don't like them, right? But no red flags. So just sit down for a moment and reflect on what do you want people, what is the perception you want people to have from you or about you, right? Hey, I want them to think that I'm a really serious and formal person. Fine, you need to adapt your strategy. I want to be a really cool and hipster guy. Fine, communicate this, right? Uh, at the end of the day, it's weird to say this, but you are kind of a product for the companies. So they need to know if you are valuable enough to be invested, right? It's like when you go to buy something in the mall, you always take a look. Does this looks good? Yes or no? Am I gonna invest my money on this? Yes or no? The companies, they think like that, of course. Besides the technical skills, they're gonna think if as a human, right, you are valuable enough to be there. There's no other way, not there's no easier way right now to show this than social media right now, right? So if you go there to my my social media, you're gonna see those random life things that can connect with someone, but also that I'm a UX professional and mentor at Design Lab. Okay, it's a brand. So if anybody here in La Paz or internet talks about UX, digital design, or even career transition, and they know me, they're gonna say my name. That's the idea. So just that, I mean, if it's empty or not, my recommendation is um hold on. It's probably here. Try to show good things. Try to show what maybe the companies or the clients or maybe whatever are gonna be interested. Use some statistics for me. For me, I use like, hey, gazillions years of experience. I don't know, 3 languages and whatever the hundreds mentees on Design Lab. This is what I use. For you guys, can be other things like clients, can be languages, can be countries that you visited, can be hours that you studied, books that you read, right? Anything. Just try to show something. If you don't have ideas for your social media, my suggestion is first, this book here, Show Your Work, right? Is a book from Austin Leon. He tells the same story. He was a very introverted guy. He was losing many opportunities in his professional career because he was not communicating. He was always like in the corner, right? And he noticed, just like me, exactly like me, if you don't show what you're doing, people will not know what you're doing, right? Especially in this era and age of social media, if you don't show, people will not know, right? Of course, having the right connections is always helpful, but until a certain extent, right? If you have the right connections and you don't know how to do the job, it doesn't work, right? So my suggestions, take pictures. If you are sketching something, take pictures, post on stories, Instagram stories. Um, if you, let's say, are studying or having a session with your mentor, take a picture, share. If you are creating a case study, film a short video, post and share. If you are creating something for UX, write it down a post and document. Okay. Oh, 605 here. That's it. Okay, at least for the presentation. So uh, thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you so much for participating here in this event. Thank you so much for sharing, okay, your questions. Of course, thank you Design Lab to have this space here with you guys. If you have any questions, we still have a couple of minutes here too if you want to ask anything. Okay. Hi there, Eva. Where is this recording accessible? I don't know, unfortunately. I'm sorry. They asked you to record. They didn't say that they are gonna put this available on YouTube. So maybe they're gonna share later in their newsletter or something, right? I'm recording and I'm gonna send to them. So let's see what happens. Leanne, thank you. Hi there, Leanne. It's been a while. Um, Thanafa, I hope I'm saying the right pronunciation. Thank you so much. You're welcome. Thank you for being here. Carrie, thank you. Thank you for being here. Paulina, thank you so much. Okay, for being here. Does anybody have any questions, any things they want to share or no? We still have a couple of minutes. We can be here. Maybe not. Okay, that's it then. Again, thank you so much. Thank you, Olivia. Thank you for being here. Um, yes, Rafael, I'm from São Paulo and I'm living in La Paz right now. Crazy, crazy world, right? Um, that's it. Add me, you have my medias there, Instagram, you have my LinkedIn. Let's connect, let's keep in touch. And thank you so much and see you next time.